Hello, and welcome to this episode of Flyby, presented by the National Model Aviation Museum. I'm your host, Claire, and today I'll be talking about the fast-flying free flight model by Elbert Joe Weathers, the Pacificoaster. There has always been some rivalry between East Coast and West Coast modelers. Elbert J. Weathers, who went by Joe, was a prominent part of Team West from the 1930s to the 1950s. A California native, Joe showed his allegiance to the West Coast in many ways, including names for his models such as the Westerner and Pacificoaster, but also in the design of the models themselves. Although built to conform to the 1946 official model aircraft regulations, Joe used the Pacificoaster to advocate for a new precision free flight event, which he claims was desired on the West Coast. And since what he meant by that is unclear in his written articles, the features of the Pacificoaster must tell us what he was thinking. Powered by an Orwick 64 ignition engine, the Pacificoaster has a 60-inch wingspan and a 52-inch fuselage. Its flying weight is 5 pounds and 4 ounces. With those measurements, the Pacificoaster has a wing loading of 18 ounces per square foot. Wing loading is described as the total mass of an aircraft divided by the area of its wing. It is an important part of aircraft design in that it affects the takeoff and landing speeds, how the aircraft turns in flight, and how fast the aircraft flies in level flight. 18 ounces per square foot is a high wing load and, along with the small wing compared with the large engine, gives the model a faster flight speed with a tight turning radius. This is emphasized by the way the weight is balanced on the model, as well as the long fuselage to counteract torque. This picture, however, of Joe weighing the model at a late 1940s contest does not have to do with the model itself, but instead was part of the contest processing to verify that the model complied with the rules. Joe was both a cause of rule changes and an advocate for them. His earlier landing gear designs had prompted several changes and clarifications. For several years, he argued that the cross-section rule and wing loading rules were not relevant or needed. These rules were eliminated in 1948. Besides speed, Joe was also concerned with the ruggedness of his design. The landing gear is bent backwards, allowing the shock of the landing to be absorbed instead of the force going straight up into the fuselage. In addition, he covered the model in nylon, not silk or tissue. He commented that nylon was chosen due to its extreme toughness, particularly in shock reaction. It seems then that to Joe, a precision free flight event meant one where flight characteristics, speed, and maneuverability were paramount. Joe's precision free flight event never materialized. In the 1950s, Joe made the switch from free flight to radio control, which he called a specific overgrowth of gas models. As such, in 1956, he updated the design of the Pacificoaster and presented it in such a way that would better serve the standard free flight duration events, but also be a suitable radio control model. As part of the redesign, he installed a less powerful engine and adjusted the placement of the wing. It is the original Pacificoaster in the museum's collection, however, complete with its original 1945 nylon covering, which, thanks to Joe's foresight, still looks great over 60 years later. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Flyby. As always, please leave your questions, ideas, and suggestions in the comments section. Follow us on social media for updates on current projects, new donations, and behind-the-scenes historical air modeling information. We always appreciate your feedback. If you notice any discrepancies in the information provided or you have additional information, please email us at museum@modelaircraft.org.